You ever get that feeling that you're just moving through life on a conveyor belt? Like you're being pulled forward by this constant, overwhelming sense of, well, this.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It's that constant buzz of notifications, all the demands on your time, that never-ending to-do list. It's like you're being pulled in a million directions at once. And it's not just the noise out there, it's the noise in here, that constant chatter in your head, right? That voice that just won't quit, making it pretty much impossible to find a single second of real, quiet thought.
And what happens? Well, before you know it, days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and it's all just a blur. We're just moving through life, but not really living it. We're on autopilot, completely missing the moments that are supposed to matter.
This quote from Steven Redhead's book, Life is a Revelation, just nails it. That's the real problem, isn't it? In all this rush, we're not just missing a few quiet moments. We're missing out on the big stuff, the actual insights that have the power to change everything.
So in this explainer, we're going to break down the powerful framework from his book. We're going to look at how we can actually shift from that distracted state to a life of conscious discovery. We'll get into the core idea, this concept of being both the author and the character, how to find clarity, what revelations really are, the courage you need, and, this is a big one, how to make those moments of insight actually stick. All right, let's dive in, starting with the foundation. The whole book is built on this one really simple but honestly profound idea. And once you get it, it kind of changes how you look for meaning in everything. See, this isn't about waiting for some huge, dramatic lightning bolt of inspiration to strike. The idea is that life itself is always revealing things to us. In the big moments, sure, but also in the really small ones. The insights we're looking for, they're already here. They're basically hidden in plain sight. So the trick isn't to go out and find them, but to create the right conditions inside ourselves to finally see them. Okay, so if life is this big revelation, then what's our part in all of it? Well, this is where the book introduces this incredible paradox, and it's really at the core of what it means to live consciously. Get this, we're both at the same time. On one hand, you're the character. You're the one in the story, feeling the emotions, reacting to things, just living day to day. But you're also the author. You're that observer part of you that can step back, see the bigger picture, understand the plot, and actually consciously shape where the story goes next. And this is such a key point. The power of being the author isn't about trying to control everything that happens out there. It's about mastering your inner world, your perspective, how you respond to things, the meaning you give to your experiences. When you master that internal landscape, well, that's what tunes you in to the right frequency to pick up on all those revelations that are already there. So that brings up a good question, right? If these revelations are quiet, but life is so ridiculously noisy, how on earth do we create the space to actually hear them? Well, the book's answer is simple but powerful. We have to cultivate stillness. Now, it's super important to get this. Stillness doesn't mean doing nothing. It's not passive or empty. It's an active practice. It's about intentionally creating this inner space of receptivity. Think of it like making your mind calm water. When it's calm, you can see a perfect reflection of the sky. But when it's choppy with all your anxieties, you can't see anything clearly. That's what we're aiming for. And the book gives us some really practical ways to do this, to prepare that internal ground. We're talking about simple things, like taking a few mindful pauses during your day, or meditation if that's your thing. Even just simple acts of presence, like actually tasting your morning coffee instead of just downing it. All these little things help quiet that internal noise, and that's when real clarity can finally bubble up to the surface. So what happens when we actually create that stillness? What comes out of it? Well, the book says it's not just about getting a few clever ideas. What emerges are these profound turning points, moments that can literally redefine your entire path.
And that right there, that's their real purpose. A revelation isn't supposed to just pat you on the back and confirm everything you already think you know. Nope, it's meant to interrupt your autopilot. It's designed to shake up your assumptions and basically invite you to see yourself and the world in a totally new light. I love this idea. It's like a loving disruption.
A lot of times, these revelations get triggered in what you might call threshold spaces. Moments when we're not so sure of everything. Breaking out of your routine, traveling somewhere new, just getting out into nature. All these things disrupt our normal patterns. And when you engage with different perspectives and just stay genuinely curious, that's when new understanding could kind of slip through the cracks of your old beliefs.
Okay, so seeing clearly, that's one thing. But actually doing something about what you see,
Acting on that newfound clarity? Yeah, that takes more than just a good idea. That takes courage.
Because a real revelation, it's almost always going to ask something of you. It's going to ask you to let go of something, an old belief, a comfortable but limiting habit, maybe even an identity you've held on to for years. And that act of letting go, it's not about loss. It's a brave act of making room for something new to grow in its place.
And this is where we really step back into that role of the author. Think about it. There's that tiny little gap between something happening and our automatic reaction to it. Right there, in that little space, that's where our freedom is. That space is the architecture of our transformation. It's the moment we stop being just reactive characters in a story and start becoming the conscious creators of our own lives.
But let's be real. We've all had those aha moments, right? Those flashes of clarity that feel so huge, only to kind of fade away a few days later. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important step in this whole process.
So, the question is, how do you make it last? How do you stop a powerful insight from just becoming a nice, fleeting memory? The book is really clear on this. If you don't have a way to integrate it, even the biggest revelation can get swallowed up by the noise of everyday life. It just becomes a pretty but ultimately useless souvenir.
You have to anchor the insight. You got to make it stick. Things like journaling, that takes a fuzzy feeling and turns it into concrete words. Sharing it with someone you trust, that makes it real outside of just your own head. Expressing it creatively gives it shape and energy. And the big one, actually applying it, taking practical action. That's what turns an idea into a real, lived experience. That's how a revelation actually becomes wisdom.
So when you put it all together, what this framework from Life as a Revelation really shows us is that this isn't about reaching some finish line called enlightenment. It's not a destination. It's about engaging in this ongoing, dynamic process of becoming. It's about learning to listen a little more deeply, see a little more clearly, and choose a little more courageously every single day.
And so, the only question left is the one the book leaves us with. If you were to just create a little bit of space, a little bit of stillness today, right now in this moment, what is your life waiting to reveal to you?